saw housing changes? I did. We're about to talk about that. Of course I did. The revisions to the housing ward classifications to accommodate housing demand. The classification of wards dedicated to free companies / private plots will be revised. Now, keep in mind that previously, in the patch notes for patch 6.1, they already told us that they were gonna do this. Where's the... Yeah, okay. Yeah, here. They already said, whenever they first divvied up the plots between FC and private estates, they did say at that time in the patch 6.1 notes, methods of sale and allocation of plots will be reassessed with every patch on a per world basis. So they did give everybody a heads up that things could change. That was said before. Yeah, this is a post that was just put up today on the Lodestone. It says that these changes will take effect at the commencement of the entry period for the lottery beginning Sunday, July 10th, or July 11th, depending on where you are in the world. Previously, it was Ward 1 to Ward 18, free company housing. Then after the change, will be Ward 1 to Ward 9, free company housing. And previously for private housing, Ward 19 to 24. Later, it will be Ward 10 to Ward 24. Now, at first I thought this is really good. They are taking into account the fact that there are way more private buyers than there are like legit active FCs that want to buy. But then, oh, actually there was a tweet about this as well. The official tweet about it. Yeah, here's the tweet, in case wondering. And people were like, oh, you finally realized it was a terrible idea. No, because like I said, they said way before that they would reassess this on a patch by patch, world by world basis. And some people were asking, you know, why not just keep them mixed? And I'm starting to ask myself that question as well. It probably had to do with what data they gathered on how many FCs there were with housing, or just FCs in general. I don't know what kind of data they were going off on, because I think it would be extremely difficult to tell the difference between a small but active legit FC that has 3 people in it and a so-called shell FC, where someone just made the FC with like the bare minimum requirements so that they could purchase a plot, because obviously there was way more FC plots available than there were private plots. You should have made more personal wards. Square Enix makes more personal wards. Should have done it from the start. Dumb idea. Y'all will never be happy. I mean, that's so true though. That's just how it is. You can't win for losing, man. They're trying new things. At least they're trying new things, okay? They're not trying the most obvious things, like putting a shitload new wards, new residential districts. They're trying what they can right now with the resources that they have. Because there's just not that, I guess there's just not a lot of things that they can do to deal with this problem of not enough supply for the demand. It does seem that way. And it also seems like my conspiracy theory about Island Sanctuary is a little bit, up in the air. Looking a little shaky right now. Because I was like, oh, well, maybe the reason that they put more FC plots instead of private plots is because the Island Sanctuary is going to be the instanced housing. Now I'm not so sure. I have some doubts now. There was a thread about this. Let me try to pull it up. So yeah, private buyers might get another chance, it seems. Might. But, yeah, here was the forum thread about it. I was looking through this morning. That had actually made me think about this in a different way once I started reading through some of the replies from people. And I actually made a tweet about it as well. As I started to think about shell FCs, the problem that we have with shell FCs because of the fact that the FC plots were open for so long, and this has given people time to make an FC just for the purpose of buying a plot. That is not actually a legitimate FC, but I mean, people are desperate. Desperate times call for desperate measures. People really want a house. You know, they're going to do what they feel like they can get away with to get it. And I don't really defend that, but I think it's understandable, you know? Yeah, and this is actually a really good point. While this is a step in the right direction, it still will lead to a dead end in a month or two. Currently on most servers, there's only a handful of houses left being bid on. Like maybe 5 or so, right? What does this mean? It means the current houses that are being bid on are either people relocating from less favorable locations or first-time buyers. Let's say it's 5 relocators. Next bidding period, there will be 5 houses available again. But let's say it's all 5 first-time buyers. Then that's it. There's no more house. Yeah. There's not enough plots for the number of people that this did not solve that problem in any way. So what is this going to do? Prolong a situation, but the end result will be inevitable. Once first-time buyers finally get their plots, the housing supply will fall right back to zero, with no way for any new ones to pop up until the next housing ward installations. Look, we have done this song and dance so many times already. I have seen this go down countless times in the years that I have been playing this game. And the only change that they've made to the housing system, besides adding new plots and new residential districts, that had made any kind of effect on this was, well, actually nothing. They didn't actually do anything to solve the the fact that we always find ourselves back at square one. The lottery system was a step in the right direction, I think. The lottery system was a positive change, a redesign to housing, how housing works. But it does just feel like this endless cycle where some people get lucky, new people often get screwed, and it feels like nothing changes. It really does feel like that. It's a band-aid solution here. I think they would have to, I mean, you can't just add an absurd number of new players. Of new servers to accommodate everybody. And even if you could, that would spread the community out so thin, and that's just a stupid reason to add new servers to know. That ain't it. We need a long-term solution, that's all I'm saying. Maybe they could improve the apartments. To make apartments a little bit more desirable. That could be something. I mean, instanced housing seems like the obvious solution, but the fact it hasn't been implemented yet and hasn't been advertised as a major expansion feature yet makes me think that there are big problems with the game's code that makes it impossible. I know it's anecdotal, but I know loads of people who've made solo FCs for this exact purpose. They're tired of waiting. They didn't trust Square to handle the situation, and they just wanted a house. The FC I'm currently in lost members who departed to make their own FC so they could finally purchase a house for similar reasons. Not all this happened at the same time, though. So you're not seeing all the homes vanishing on the same day. Yeah, that's true. Some people made shell FCs 2 weeks ago, for example. In 2 more weeks, they'll be eligible to purchase a home. After the first bidding cycle, when the issue of shell FCs wasn't a problem, because anyone making an FC for this purpose was still on a 1-month timer. That's the thing to remember, too, because if you want to buy a plot as an FC, you have to wait 30 days. Where's the requirements page? I think it's down here. Yeah. You gotta wait the 30 days if you want to do it. So it takes time for people to realize, you know what? I tried the lottery, it's not working, but look at all those open free company plots. Maybe we'll just do that. That seems easier. Nobody's even bidding on those, so I could probably get it, right? Still on a 1-month timer. There were actually loads of empty homes in the FC wards, as we have all seen. Then the bidding was put on pause for a month. And suddenly, wow, in the next bidding cycle, all these new FCs came out of nowhere and started buying up small plots. More of them just keep appearing with each passing week. How crazy. Yeah. So that's the concern with the fact that these changes are going to be happening July 10th. Because with each passing day, you have more and more of these FCs that popped up around this time for the purpose of purchasing a house that will get closer to that 30 days of activity required to buy a plot. And these revisions made to the ward classifications will not affect previously purchased plots. Is something to keep in mind too. It's free real estate. I wouldn't say it's free real estate, but it's purchasable real estate. Yeah. Okay, is a shell FC exclusively to buy a house? Yes. Yeah, I mean, that's how I would define it. Because I have a private FC with my in-game husband, so we'd have full control of our FC actions, company space, and we have an FC house. But that was a byproduct rather than our sole intent. I think some people would classify that as a shell FC, because, which is like, it is really, in some cases it can be indistinguishable from someone who just got it for the house only. Like, how would you even tell the difference between those two situations? There's like so many FCs with like 3 or 4 people in it that are legit. You know, they're operating as an FC. We're going to go and police every single person and like check, oh, did y'all have an FC event this month? Are you really there for like, that's not. Basically, I started to feel like I started to feel like making some wards FC only literally only just delayed the inevitable. It just time gated it behind the new 30-day new the 30-day new FC requirement before you could buy a house. And there's a not insubstantial number of people willing to leave their FC to do it, or just say, I don't even need an FC, I'll do that. And you can kind of understand why people do make the shell FCs, because they've seen all these shiny new wards, plots. Like, you can understand it. I understand why people are upset about it. But I also feel like, a lot of times people that might be upset about that and pointing to someone saying, oh, they made a shell FC to buy that plot. Maybe it's not a shell FC. It's very hard to tell the difference. It's very hard to tell the difference. I mean, it's not like you even really need an FC in this game. Like, there's no technical reason why you would need the FC besides, I guess, using the... There's a couple of FC features. There's the airship you can make, but I pretty much completely ignored that, and I don't... Some people get real hung up on that, but I could probably live with it. I have not been in an FC for over a year, and I really don't even notice a difference. Real talk. Like, I get my buffs from the Adventure Squadron that are just as good as FC buffs. So, like, what I'm saying is, I can see why people are like, yeah, I can totally just leave my FC. I don't need an FC. I have Discord. I've got link shells. But I really want a house, and this looks like a fast track to get myself a house, you know? Obviously, there were a lot of legitimate FCs and active FCs whenever those wards were opened up. Judging by, I mean, there were some that did get plots pretty quickly. And there are obviously going to be some that naturally will have just gotten to that point whenever they're able to buy. But I do feel like they're in the minority compared to the insane number of private buyers, really. But it's not, actually, it's kind of an unfair way to frame it. It's not an insane number of private buyers. It's an insanely small number of plots for the number of people that play on any given server. There just needs to be more large plots for FC plots. That's a good point too. A lot of, maybe that's the thread that I was looking at this morning. FCs typically don't really love the small plot. Like, if you have an FC and you're running an FC, you usually want like a medium or a large plot because you feel like there's more people living there. So FCs tend to gravitate towards more bigger plots, if possible, if at all possible. Of course, I would prefer instance housing if it were possible. I think everybody would at this point. With how frustrating the system has been, I think that the coolness and the benefit of having a neighborhood that you can walk around is not cool enough to offset how shitty it is that so many players are not able to get a house at all. I mean, I'm not saying they should delete the current housing system, but I'm saying that they should add instance housing. That's all.